Okay, so today we're going to do something slightly differently. I'm going to show you how to get better footage from your iPhone. I'm just going to be using the iPhone 12 handheld. I'll show you the best settings and some tricks you can do to get better shots with your phone. So today we've come outside and I'm going to show you how you can get better shots just using your iPhone. No accessories, no gimbals, no apps, just better ways you can film shots on your iPhone and the settings that you should dial in to get those better shots. So let's start off with this lake. We've come to this lake here in Knutsford. And first of all, I'm going to show you what most people do when they film something like this. And we're going to show you the good and the bad way of doing it. So we've got this lake here behind us. And what I'm going to show you now is kind of the shot that most people get. You know, if your mum sends you a video, this is the video you're going to get. It's going to be hit record. It's just going to be, this is the woods. Here's the lake. And a quick sort of pan left and right. And you know, it's kind of a rookie mistake to do that. As you can see, there's some much more interesting ways that we can reveal the lake and they just look much more cinematic. So I'm going to look for a couple of things we can use to reveal the lake. So let's go for a little hunt and find a couple of more interesting looking shots. Okay, so we've just walked up past the lake and we've found this interesting tree. As you can see, it's got some nice branches that kind of really sweep into the little lake. So I'm going to show you two ways you can use a tree like this to reveal the lake and make the shot much more interesting. So let's go over to the tree and then I'll show you what settings you need to dial into your iPhone too. Okay, so before we film on the iPhone, there's just a couple of little things you'll want to change. So the first thing you'll want to do is up the top here, you can change your resolution and you can change your frame rates. Now, resolution is the quality, so I would always have that on 4K. Secondly, if you tap the 24, you'll see it jumps from 30 to 60. Now, what's great about 60 is that you can then slow down the footage. So that's what we're going to do for all of our examples here. It just means you're filming with more frames, which means you can keep it at the normal frame rate, but you can also slow it down. Secondly, if we look up here, what you'll see when an iPhone moves up and down, the exposure changes and it's a quick shift. You may not see it in this example. So what we'll need to do is we want to expose for this lake here. So what you can do is tap there to focus and then tap and hold, and then you get this AEAF lock, and that means the focus is locked, and then you can hold your finger on the screen and adjust up and down to get the exposure right, so the final shot that you want to expose for, and then get it perfect. So I'm going to drag it down because I think that looks good. It looks nicely exposed. So once we've got that, we can start to get our first shot. Okay, so we've fixed the focus, we've done the exposure, and now all I'm going to do is a reveal from this branch here, which will be slightly out of focus now because we're focused on the lake. I'm going to hit record, and I'm just going to move slightly forward, pull down to reveal the lake. I'm just going to try that again. Just going to bring it closer to my body, move forward. And bring it down, and we'll see how that looks. And that's one way to reveal the lake. The second way, we're going to go over here to this tree here, and we're going to reveal it from the tree. So we're going to see how that looks. Just adding something in the foreground or background can add some more dynamics to your shot. So again, we are going to focus on the lake. We're going to hold and tap to get that on the autofocus lock. I think it looks good about there. And then we're going to hit record, and then we're going to slowly reveal the lake, and just do it a couple of times until you get the speed right, the motion right, and the framing of the object. And we'll see, that should look pretty good. So for this shot, we've just found this tree that has fallen down. So we're going to use this for a shot again to reveal the lake. I didn't see this earlier, but what I'm going to do differently with this shot is use the wide angle lens of the iPhone, because I think when you use that and you run across a subject, it can give you some really nice, interesting shots. So we're going to try that now. I'm going to, again, do the focus, lock that in. So we're going to get that locked there. I think that's good. And then what I'm going to do, you want to keep your horizon nice and straight, but I'm going to try a few times to try and get this wide angle looking good. It's a little bit wobbly there, so I'm going to come a little bit closer. There we go. I'm going to try again, a little bit closer and go all the way through this time. There we go. And then I'm going to try one from just the side here and kind of go through these two parts of the roots that are sticking out of the tree. So we'll see how that looks. Okay, so we're going to see how that looks in the edit, and hopefully we've got a nice shot there. Next, what I want to do is show you some different ways you can use your iPhone to get some interesting shots of the objects of the place you're in. So we're in some woods. I want to show what the tree cover looks like, maybe some of the wood materials you can see lying around, some of the leaves and some of the moss. So let's go to the trees over here and we'll try that shot. Okay, so it can be quite tempting, again, just to point your iPhone at, you know, the tree cover and just pan left to right. But it looks a little bit boring and it doesn't tell much of a story. So I'm going to show you a couple of shots you can do when you're in places like this. So the first one we're going to do is we're going to actually get the iPhone and we're going to point directly up at the tree and just give the iPhone a little 360 spin, very slowly, but it gives you a really nice shot. So again, I'm going to lock in the focus and I'm going to hit record and just spin very slowly. There we go. I'm going to come a little bit closer. Try again. There we go, and that should be a nice shot. Okay, so the next shot is going to make you look like a bit of an idiot, but the shot is going to look really cool. So this one is only really for like buildings and trees, but what we're going to do is we're going to shoot up the tree. So I'm going to film this, we're going to do the same techniques as before, and then we'll see how this looks. I'm just going to do a screen recording on this so you can see this as well. Okay, we're going to start low and just go up the tree. We're going to come down. Go up again. There we go, and you'll see slow down, that should look pretty nice. It's also really important to make sure you record the details. So I'm just going to record some of these pine nuts, just a little gentle spin around them. And that looks pretty good. Okay, maybe you're on a day out with someone and you want to capture the essence of the day out. It's important to get some extra detail in the shots. Don't just use the wide angle shot and then just film at that standard angle, you know, and film the whole video like that. You want to get some close-ups of walking, close-ups around the person's head, and you can do it really subtly with the iPhone, just doing very subtle movements. Just wiggle your hips a little bit from left to right, and it's amazing how good some of the shots can come out. So I'm going to do that with my wife now, and we'll see how these shots look coming just from the iPhone. Definitely consider using the wide angle lens. It gives you a much wider field of view, as you can see, but it's also very, very stable. And because it's so wide, it looks almost dreamy. So I love using this for landscapes and building shots. So the light is setting fast, but we're going to try and use the sunset and just try and capture some of the light. We're going to try and block it out with this branch and then come in and pull down. It can be quite a nice shot. I'm going to try that again. I'm just going to expose for the sun. I'm going to lock that in. Okay, I'm going to block the light with the branch and then we're going to pull it down and across to reveal the sun. Now, just one little trick for you Apple Watch owners. If you're trying to vlog with your iPhone and you want to do more videos with yourself included, then don't use the front-facing camera. Actually use the back-facing camera because they are much higher quality than the front. But there's also a little trick you can do with your iPhone. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to open up the camera app, and what you can do is go to camera on your Apple Watch, and you've got a camera remote. So if I flip that around and use the back, you can see I'm now using, let's just flip that around. You can see I'm now using the back camera. And of course, there's not a screen on the back of the iPhone, but you can use the watch to frame yourself. And as you can see there, I'm really perfectly framed. And it just means you'll get much better vlogging shots when it comes to using your iPhone. So a little hack there if you're an Apple Watch and an iPhone user. Okay, so we're back in the studio. It was pretty cold out there, and because it's winter time here, it got dark pretty quickly. So I'm hoping we got enough shots there to show you what to do. So LumaFusion is the app of choice that I tend to go for. You can edit this footage in iMovie, but if you're gonna get serious about your filmmaking, I would definitely recommend LumaFusion because it can do about 90% of what Premiere Pro or Final Cut Pro can do. So it's really worth an investment. And I'll put a link in the description to the App Store if you want to check that out. out. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to screen record and just show you how I would edit this on my iPhone. Okay, so we're in LumaFusion and I'm going to show you how you can quickly create a project if this is the first time that you've ever used LumaFusion. So all you need to do to create a project is hit the plus icon there. We're going to call this project something really original. I'm going to call it iPhone. So just there. You can create the frame rate. Now, because this was filmed on an iPhone, we don't have the PAL settings on here, so I'm going to use 30 frames a second. And the reason for that, even though I filmed at 60 frames a second, if you choose a frame rate of 30, it means you've got 60 frames in every second, which means you can slow the footage down by half. So you get that kind of slow motion effect. Frame aspect is going to be 16:9. But what I like about LumaFusion is that you can do square videos, you can do portrait videos. So if you are doing Instagram and Instagram story style stuff, LumaFusion is great for that, and you can't do that with iMovie on your iPhone. So definitely worth considering if you're taking your video more seriously. Color space, we're going to click the standard, and then we're ready to go. Now, all you've got here, so you can see our videos at the bottom of LumaFusion here. So I'm going to go through and just select a couple of the shots that we took on that day. So I'm going to press that. And as you can see, I've previewed this clip before, so you've got these in and out points here. But essentially, you can play a clip through, and this is the full take that I did on the day when we were out there. And you can see I've got a couple of takes. Now, obviously, you do not want this whole piece of footage in there. So if you're new to editing, what you can do is create in and out points. And it's really, really easy to do on LumaFusion. All you do is you see these yellow lines here on the side, simply hold and then drag. And I'm going to start it roughly as I start to move forward. So let's put that, just keep dragging. So there we go. You can see I'm moving forward. I'm going to let go. Let's play that through. And then we want it to end about there. So I'm just going to drag this yellow one to there. And then we're going to insert that into the timeline. So then we've got our timeline starting to build up already. It's got one clip in it. And you can see we've got that clip there and it looks pretty nice. Now I'm going to go for my second shot. Now we did a couple of intros, you know, behind the tree, through and down the log, but they all reveal the lake. So I'm just going to start using my secondary shots of the trees. So let's maybe use this one here. Let's play that through and have a look at that. So again, you can see where I start to get ready for the shot, and then we twist and it kind of goes off on that shot. Let's see if we've got a better one to use. Let's try this first one. Okay, that looks okay. You can see I'm getting ready. Now I think I prefer the end of the first clip. So what I'm going to do is, again, get that ready. Put the in and out points here. So start that there. Okay, and I'm just going to use that little kind of 1.5 second shot there, and I'm going to insert that into the timeline. Now, what you've got, if we already play this through, I don't want to make this too lengthy for you, but what you've got essentially is your sequence building up. So you can see we have this first clip, we then go to the second clip. Now I'm going to add a third clip. So let's get this wide shot here of my wife just looking out to the lake. So that's fine. Now I'm going to start this clip almost at the start, but you can see when we play this through, she picks up the camera there. So I'm going to do an end frame there. We're going to insert that. But then I've got another shot close up we did of her doing the same movement. So you can see she pulls it up to her eye. So what I'm going to do as part of this edit is just edit that secondary shot. So you can see there, as she starts to pick it up, I'm going to cut from there. We're going to have that in there. And then we're going to drag this one on top of this clip here. So as she starts to pick up the camera here, as you can see, we're going to move that along to there. So we go from a wide shot to a close-up, and it fits, it works, look at that. And that's how you can really start telling a better story. Think about your angles, think about your shots. Don't be afraid of filming the same thing 2 or 3 times, because that's when you get these better, more detailed shots. So we're going to add that in, and then we are going to maybe throw in this shot here of the close-up that we got. So again, we're just going to have a look at that. We're just going to go around this footage here. Around this pine nut here. Okay, so I like it from about there where it starts to move around. We're going to get a quick bit in there. Let's play that through. Let's put that at the end. So that starts playing as she finishes. Oop, and as you can see, it goes off the end there, so we want to just take that back to before it dips down to about there. And then to finish this off, let's just close this off with that little shot we got of the light coming through the trees. So I'm going to start that from there where the sun is hidden, play that through, and there we go. So that's enough for a little sequence. Now, what you can do, and again, why we filmed this at 60 frames a second is so we can slow this down. So it's really easy to do this in LumaFusion. Just simply double tap the clip, and then once you're in this section here, along the bottom, you can see this little speedometer. Press that, and you can see this little white line here on the speed line. You can actually drag this down, and that will play the clip by half. So let's just go back to how it was. Let's play that through. So you can see it's quite quick. Now, if we drag it down to half the speed, play it through, you can see, look at that, it already looks much more cinematic. So obviously if you've been video editing for a while, this isn't going to be new to you, but if you are, this is a real nice way of getting some nice cinematic shots, especially like this one here of the tree. We're going to slow this down. Let's just play that through. You know, it looks very quick. It's a quick shot. Let's slow it down by half. Let's play it through. There we go. And this actually helps stabilize your shots a little bit, because when things are moving slower, you don't notice those little sort of jerks in your motion. So I'm going to do this to these shots here, and I'm just going to quickly run through and slow these ones down just to show you how this sequence would look if we slowed all the footage down. Now you can copy and paste this to all of the clips, but as we've only got a few here, I'm just going to double tap in and drag these in because it's nice and quick. And I'm going to do it to the last one too. There we go. So we've already got our footage in, we've got it slowed down. Now, the great thing about this is you can also do a little color correction. So I'm just going to do that here. Let's double tap. And all you need to do is go across to this last icon here, which is color and effects. You've got some presets here, which are really good to use. Contrast, if we just press that, you can see that contrast changing directly there on the shot. But I'm going to undo that. And what we can do, let's just press original. If you press original, you get this drop down here, and you can then finally adjust your footage how you like. So you can adjust the brightness, you can pull that down, you can adjust your midtones and highlights, you can drag this up, and then we can adjust the contrast to make it more contrasty. You can even make it more saturated. So play around with that to your heart's content. And what I'm going to do now is just quickly fiddle around with this, get the colors just right, maybe put a LUT on there as well. You can download the Editor's Keys LUT by clicking up here or checking out the link in the description. And then we're going to export this, and I'll quickly show you now how you export it, and then I'll show you the final footage. So once you've done all these color corrections, I'm going to do a bit more after this. All you need to do is press the share button here, and then you can export movie, and then just export it to your photos. Now, LumaFusion will automatically pick the best settings based on the timeline and the footage that you've got in the timeline. So I usually leave this to LumaFusion and then simply press the export button at the top. So that's how you do it. But now let's have a look at the final footage. Okay, so that's quite an in-depth, lengthy tutorial today, but I hope that's helped. And it's just to show you that you can use the video camera that you've got in your pocket to create some seriously good video. And as mentioned, we use the iPhone in actually some of our professional videos. We mix sometimes the footage with our Sony a7S III, and if you do it well, you can barely tell the difference. So I hope that's helped. And in an upcoming video, we're going to show you the best accessories and apps that you can pair with your iPhone to get the best possible video footage out of your iPhone. So stay tuned, subscribe to the channel if you want to see that. And if you've got any questions at all, please leave them below. As I promised, we do get back to every single one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.